This is why we have the book and the program Called to Be Man, as the information is saturated in biblical principles. It is. You know why? It's a worldwide problem. Teaching the Torah to our families will empower them to stop their giants from taking advantage of them. How many know that when those 10 spies went into the land and they came back and says, we're but grasshoppers in their sight, what did they teach their children? To be whining, wimpy people forever. They taught them the giant of I can't. Did that go on for generations? Why? Why did Yahweh say that you guys can't go into the land? Why? He couldn't afford that spirit to come into Israel. Wow, how fortunate are you children that are living with your parents today, knowing of what they're doing. Teaching Torah to our families will empower them to live a lifestyle that is so different from everyone else. That's why these last 3 teachings should be put in a place where this information can be researched and utilized over and over again. I wish I could tell you how many people, and just this week, I think I've had 4 or 5 men come to me and just talk to me and say, you know what? I've read the book. This is my 3rd time. I got my Call to Be Men workbook. I've got it in a certain place in my house, and when I get into trouble, I go and research the book. How many know this is amazing stuff of why we need to get this course into so many hands? Because this is Yahweh is teaching us how to walk in the kingdom. Let's take a look at another giant killer that maybe somebody can relate to tonight. Matthew, the tax collector. How many know we never read much about Matthew or not much about what's going on? But I want to go into his life tonight a little bit. But maybe somebody can just relate. If there ever was in the tax collecting business, it's written that even those tax collectors don't like tax collectors. Amen. Because of who they are. They didn't like that kind of breed of people. Nobody wanted to be around him, except this one man. Matthew had giants. Do you realize that every time Matthew went home alone? I don't care who you are. I used to ride with some very tough guys when I used to ride with the outlaw groups and stuff. And you know what I found out from some of the toughest guys that were there, the sergeant of arms and some of those guys that were fighters? You know why they joined biker groups? They came and joined them for one reason. Why? Because they like to fight and drink and all that kind of stuff and ride motorcycles. That's why they came together? No, they came together for one reason. Because they wanted to be with somebody that cared. They knew that there would be a bunch of guys that if they had some troubles, that somebody would help them. They came for relationships. Every one of them was there for the same reason. It wasn't because of Harley Davidson and all the stuff that many people think. It was because they wanted to be with somebody. Matthew went home alone. Do you think he didn't have giants? Welcome, I don't have any friends, living at home. He had a reputation of being the dirtiest and the most crooked, hated man in the city. He took advantage of his own people for the benefit of the Roman government. How many know that he wasn't a very popular guy, even amongst his own people? No one cared for him or wanted to be friends with him. Nobody even knew his name. He was just the tax collector. But you know what? But Yeshua knew Matthew. Yeshua knew who he was. He knew his name. He knew his lifestyle. He knew his hurts, his inadequacies, his failure, and Yeshua knew his giants. He knew those things that went on inside of him all the time. Matthew was more to Yeshua than what people called him. He was more than what he had done. He was more than what he thought of himself. Somebody in tonight is understanding this way deeper than some other people. What others thought of him was small compared to how little he thought of himself. his mistakes, his thought life, that was sometimes out of order. His giants mocked him. Loser, loser. Maybe there's someone here tonight that can relate to being a Matthew. How he must have felt when Yeshua said, "Come, follow me." All of the past thoughts, all of the past feelings, all the past negativity about him, all went away because of 3 little words. Come, follow me. Matthew's giants were falling down and not mocking him anymore. That voice was gone. Do you realize that Matthew just was like the burning bush on the backside of the desert, where nobody cared about him, and all of a sudden he was lit up, and all of a sudden he was known because Yeshua lit him up. Come, follow me. 3 little words, yet they were so powerful, so profound, so filled with love that it escaped him for years. And they were so life-transforming that could change his legacy for generations, because I'm going to ask you, what's the first book in the New Testament called? Matthew. Wow. Transformed from a dirty tax collector that nobody liked. The Yahweh so transformed that how many people, millions of people, utter his name? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Wow. My question to you is, could God change you to a well-known name? Absolutely. Let's read Matthew 4, 18 through 22. But what do those 3 little words really mean? What are they? I mean, what about them? Because they're the same words that Peter, James, and John heard when Yeshua called them too. Let's read Matthew 4, 18 through 22.
Then he said to them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Then immediately left their nets. They were fishing now and fished like him, and followed him. Going out from there, he saw 2 brothers, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, in the boat where Zebedee their father mending their nets. They were getting ready to fish for men. He called them to come follow him, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him.
You know, that story doesn't mean a whole lot to people, except if you've worked for your father. You know, if like Mark and I, if we'd have been out stacking hay, and Grandpa was with us, and he'd have been on the stack, and some preacher went by and says, "Mark, Steve, come with me," and we'd have jumped off the stack, how many know somebody had a fit? Rusty, would that have happened in your family? Where are you going? Get back here, you know? But how many know we read that? Well, every time I read that, I was going, how come they jumped up and then they left immediately? Why would they? These guys must be irresponsible. I thought that those guys were just irresponsible. Just run off at the whim of everything. Did you wonder is there some kind of spirit that Yeshua had over them? You know, you ever wondered that? What made them leave? In the Hebrew culture of Yeshua's day, every boy was bar mitzvah, called the son of the commandments. Every girl was bat mitzvah, called the daughter of the commandments. And when a boy was being taught in yeshiva, a Hebrew school, the next level of learning was to be taught personally by a rabbi. And if you had what characteristics, attributes, integrity he was looking for in you, you would be with that rabbi every day and every night to learn his ways of the Torah. But if you did not possess the ways of the rabbi would ask, "What does your father do?" And when the rabbi asked that, you knew you didn't have what it took. Every time they got into the boat, Peter, James, and John got into the boat, they threw their nets over. Their giant would whisper, "You are a loser." Every time they threw out their nets going, you didn't have what it took. Because if you'd have had it good enough, you wouldn't be throwing nets, because that's all you're going to do for the rest of your life. How many ever know been there? Wonder, That's what I thought. I was a dairy farmer. That's all I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. I thought that was it. Not that I minded, because I thought that was okay, but I thought that's all I would ever accomplish. See, the giant would whisper, "Loser, you don't have what to say. See, Steve, that's all you could do. This is all you're going to get to be. It's Jim's son. This is all you're going to get to do. Get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and go bring the cows in, go home at night. This is all that you're going to get to do." However, when Yeshua sees the future disciples, he says, "Come, follow me." Which he means, you can be like me. You have the character attributes and integrity that it takes to be like this rabbi. No wonder they threw down their nets. No wonder that for the first time in their life, somebody is saying, "I believe in you." You know what I'm doing tonight? I'm doing the same thing. I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in all of you. I believe in you. Because I'm here tonight. But I believe in you. I'm willing to go the extra mile. I am with Yeshua and telling you I believe in you. See, this is what's going on because I know you have giants in your life. And he's stealing from you every day. And I'm telling you that the Master is saying, "Come, follow me." Remember, having a giant does not offend Yeshua. He's not offended by your giant. It is not you defending your giant that it doesn't like. It is you, because why? He wants you to defeat your giant. It's you not defeating him that he doesn't like. He's going, "I gave you the gun. Pull the trigger." How many know if this was a gun, you can beat the devil with the gun, but how many know that's not what the gun is for? You gotta have some imagination. Little boys have imagination, girls don't have so much. But how many guys are following with me? Amen? How many little girls don't have guns? Imagination. Okay, so they do. All right. I'll get the emails tomorrow just over that one. But how many know what I'm talking about? You see, God gave us a gun, His Word. And the devil's looking around and going, "Yeah, they got a gun, but I ain't scared." You know why he ain't scared? He hasn't heard. He hasn't heard that last click of a hammer going back. That's what scares him. Because the next step is to pull the trigger. The question that I want to know from you, or shoot the arrow, just like Wendy just said. You got the arrow pulled back. All you got to do is release the fingers. You see, this is what's going on in our culture today. Where am I at? I think I know where I'm at there. You see, that's what's going on. I'm going to go to the next 14. I am 14. And so you see, this is what's going on because you've got to learn to pull the trigger. You see, remember, God doesn't care. Yahweh's given you everything. He's just asking you, don't let your giant defeat you. How many of you have children? Don't you just love it when other kids beat on your kid? Huh?
No.
You don't like it, do you? Then what makes you think the Father likes it when the devil beats on you? See, He came to earth to give you empower you by His Spirit, by His Torah, to defeat the giants. So He told you that. Go get them. That's why we're studying so much about David. See, your giant does not repel Yeshua. It attracts him. How many know Yeshua showed up with David? Says, "Oh boy, here we go. David and I are going out to get this giant." Amen? See, your giant does not intimidate Yeshua. When Joshua and Caleb saw the giants in the land, they got excited because they knew they'd have victory over those giants because Yahweh already promised them the land. Go with me to Numbers 13:30.
Then Caleb planted before Moses and said, will but once take possession, for we are well able to go with them.
Okay, keep reading.
Only do not rebel against the Lord, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them.
Do not fear them. Because why? They're our bread. Why did they look at the giants going, oh my goodness, these guys can work for us? How would you like to have a giant 14 feet tall working for you? I mean, and he had to do what you told him to do. How cool would that be? How many know he'd like a couple of them? Amen? You see, that's where you're at today. The problem is that you're not letting your giant work for you. All of these things that are going on in your life that is whispering to you, you're allowing that giant to defeat you instead of you defeating that giant. Most people run from the giants in fear. Giants are a sign that you're headed into a new season. Some of you may be saying, yeah, I don't have any giants. I'm okay.
Thank you.
Got nothing going on really. Then you're not going into a new season. Because when you head into a new season, how many know a giant's going to be there? That's what I'm going to talk about next week. What happens when you go to a new gate. See, I want to remind you that up until David kills Goliath, he's a nameless person. Even his family didn't care that much about him. How do I know that? Because he is the 8th son. And when Samuel came to anoint the king of Israel, he went all the way through to number 7 and goes, something's amiss here because God told me to this house. And Jesse goes, oh yeah, I got one more. How would you like to be thought of like that? Oh yeah, I got one more. Amen. But let's review about David. He's the 8th son of Jesse, trained to battle the animals that want to eat his father's sheep who's in charge of. Now, how many know that he had to learn a little bit about how to battle the animals that were coming? Amen? Somebody had to teach him about how to use a slingshot. Amen? How many know he just wasn't out there and his dad said, here's some tools, just whatever you got to do? How many know he was taught? But notice in the text is a battle that's going on between Israel and a Philistine. It's about a battle that's about a seasoned warriors. Men that had years of military experience. The battle is about who's going to have dominion over who? Israel or the Philistines. So whoever loses is what? Got to be servants of the other. Now I want you to look at the scenario right now. David is completely out of place. Here he is. He looks like a shepherd. The bottom of his sandals smell like a shepherd. You'll get that later.
Okay, sweet. Okay.
But he's a meaningless shepherd boy. His family sees him as a gopher. How many are you younger in the family, and that's what you were, was a gopher?
Go for this.
Amen. A meaningless shepherd boy. Yes, he killed a lion and a bear, but he was not a soldier. There's a difference between people that have been seasoned fighters, that are learning all of the martial arts and all of the stuff that they knew and how to be a soldier. But he didn't have any experience as a seasoned soldier. He was so ill-equipped in the natural realm. Now, I want you to set one thing straight. David was not a little boy. David was a big man. How do I know that he was a big man? Because he took Goliath's sword and cut his head off with it. And how many know even years later, as David's sword was in the temple, that the priest says, hey, you need a weapon, why don't you take this? How many know David was not going to use a sword in a battle that he could just barely drag? How many know he had to have some strength to be able to use that size of a sword? So David was a big man. But he was ill-equipped. Sometimes that's what you look like. Sometimes you look like you're ill-equipped. Because the enemy's going, look, where did you come from? You don't have any experience in running a ministry. What do you think he told Evelyn and I? Oh my goodness, and all you're ever going to get is this little tiny place in the back of a hair salon. 3 tables, that's all you get. Sometimes Yahweh will send you into an arena that you're out of your element. Sometimes I'm out of my arena. What do you mean I'm ministering to 112 different churches at one time? What? Notice David first understood there was a reason to make a decision about battling Goliath. He said, is there not a cause? He told his brother, why are you yelling at me? Is there not a cause? Look at what this man is doing to the nation of Israel. Look what this, not only is there a nation going to be destroyed, but what about you as a people? Is there not a cause? When's the last time you got indignant about something? What comes out of you that trips your trigger? What has Yahweh put in you that you draw a line in the sand with the enemy about your life and your family that he dare not cross? The question is, what is that line for you? Most people that I get to talk to, they don't even know what the line is. The question is, what's your line? Is it your kids? Is it your grandkids? Is the enemy taking your kids out? When's the last time you went to battle for your kids' book? When's the last time? When's the last time you wept over your kid? When's the last time that you went to your mentor and say, I'm having trouble with my children? What should I do? And then listen to what they say. What trips your trigger? 1 Samuel 17:29. And David said, what have I done now? Has he been in trouble before, maybe? Huh? How many of you that are younger children ever felt that way? That you're always in trouble? Amen? How many of us older? How many of you oldest in the family? We know what that feels like, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, go do that. But how many know the oldest also pays the price? Look at what you got to do. 1 Samuel 17:30-32. Let's read it.
Then he turned from him toward another and said the same thing. And these people answered him as the first ones did. Now when the words which David spoke were heard, they were reported to Saul, and he sent for him. David told as many people as possible what he was going to do. He was establishing his atmosphere. He was setting the stage for what he was going to accomplish. He made known his desire. Then David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with the Philistines. David knew preparation was meeting opportunity. He was confident in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He had experience following Yahweh, Yeshua, before.
Amen. Notice that David found out what he was going to get. And then he told a bunch of people, didn't he? He went to everybody and said, hey, I think I'm going to go get the king's daughter. Yes, sir. Yes, she's good looking too. I've seen her. Guess what? I ain't going to have to pay taxes no more. And you know what? I'm going to have untold wealth. How many know he was telling a bunch of people, why was he doing that? He was setting the stage. He was setting his atmosphere. What are you setting your atmosphere for? What have you written down? What's your atmosphere? What is it that you're asking Yahweh to bless you with? 1 Samuel 17:32-36. Let's read.
And Saul said to David, you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are youth, and he is a man of war from his youth. But.
Say but. Keep reading.
David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and when a lion or bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it and struck it, and delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by its beard, and struck and killed it. Your servant has killed both lion and bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God.
See, David knew, and he said, I'm going to go get that. How many know that when did Goliath die? When the stone hit him in the forehead?
No.
When he cut his head off?
No.
When did Goliath die? At that moment when he said, Your servant has killed the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine can be just like him. When's the last time you called those things as though they're not as though they be?
Sorry.
Amen? When is the last time you did that? When is the last time that you got indignant about your giant? How many know David was miffed at that giant? How dare you, you uncircumcised Philistine? When's the last time you spoke to your giant that way? That one that speaks to you at night, that's trying to destroy everything that you've got. Trying to destroy your marriage, your relationships, your finances. You poverty spirit, you uncircumcised thing. Well, how dare you come against me like that? When's the last time you got mad?
Amen.
When's the last time you got indignant towards what is going on towards your family? Wow. Oh, Pastor, you're preaching that, but you're making me feel bad. You know what? That's okay. I had to go through this myself.
Can't find him.
I got giants too. But I had to get indignant towards mine. Because I'm ready for them to come down. How about you? Amen? 1 Samuel 17:37.
Moreover, David said, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." And Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you."
Amen. So notice that when did the giant die? He said he's going to. Who's going to deliver him? God. Who's going to deliver you from your giant?
Yeshua.
Yahweh, Yeshua's going to deliver you. Why? Because he's already delivered you. Amen? You see, you got to see yourself already delivered. You got to see yourself already running how big you want to be. What's the size of house that you're going to be living in this next couple of years? What's the size of nice car you want to drive? What's the size of ministry you're going to have? How many people are going to be working for you? How many know that as we work together in the ministry, how many know different department heads, like Pastor K? How many people need to be working under Pastor K? 12, 15? How many people does she need to do what we need to do? You see, that's where we're at. What are you seeing for yourself to be? How big a construction company you want, if that's what you want to do? How big? How many people you want working for you? 30, 40? How many do you want? What do you want to do? Notice the parallel words spoken by Joshua and Caleb and David. All giant killers. And they're all the same word. David said, he will deliver me from the hand of the Philistine. Joshua and Caleb, let it go at once and take possession, for we're well able to overcome it. Meaning we're going to be delivered. The same thing. When's the last time you spoke that you're being delivered from all the stuff that's going against you? When's the last time you sent out an email? When's the last time you sent a text to somebody and said, you know what, I'm being delivered? And they may not know what you're thinking about, but it doesn't matter. How many know God knows, and so does that giant. Both have proclaimed they're about to do something in the natural that is beyond accomplishing it by human means. See, that's where you're at right now. Your own words have kept you captive all this time. How you see yourself decides how you speak to your giant. How you see yourself decides how you speak to your giant. Giant, you just go away. You stop it.
Get out of here.
That's right. Andrew Wendy, the giant killer. Amen. Which, how do you want to go after your giant? Choose whether or not you're a grasshopper or a giant killer. Choose whether or not you're a kitty or a lion. Only your words will reveal who you are. I know I'm teaching good tonight. Amen. How many know God's got your number? The way you see you is the way others see you. Why do you think we teach so much on appearance here?
Means you're not looking.
Because the way you see you is the way others will see you. the way you see yourself, the way you proclaim your status in Yahweh Yeshua, is how the enemy will attack you. See, the enemy won't come after somebody that he knows is going to lose. The enemy's not stupid. How many know Goliath was stupid? But how many know when he said, "How dare you come at me like a dog with a stick?" How many know he was he didn't know what was about to come, did he? Neither does your giant. See, I don't care what you're facing. I don't care what you're facing. It doesn't matter. The question is, are you ready to take it down? You see, the important part is that when you start to grasp the understanding of how to take a giant down, your kids can do it. See, and then they get an understanding and go, "Oh, my dad did that. That's easy. I know how to do that." You know, I love being around Rusty and his kids. I go up to their place, and all their kids know how to take stuff apart. You know, they got bolts just going there, and watch them put together fuel pumps and all kinds of stuff. You know where they learned that? Right there. They learned that. Are they scared of it? Did they go, "Oh, Dad, oh, we couldn't look that." They don't do that, do they? No, they want, "Hey, I know how to do this. I can handle that." Look at James. He's what, 14 years old? How old is he? 16 years old. And he's got no fear of jumping on a motor and taking bolts out. He's after why? Because he's confident what he's doing. Why? Where did he learn that? You see, that's what, and if he can be taught that, can he be taught how to kill a giant? It's the same thing. How you understand the Torah, the Devar Elohim, is how you understand the power of his spoken word. In order to understand the life in Yeshua, the incarnate Torah will cause us to be obedient to his word, to live in his word. You see, living in the Torah is different than just coming to Shabbat. When you're there, man, Father, I can't wait. I got something that you're doing inside of me. I'm so thankful. Father, I thank you, man. My heart's on fire. I'm burning up inside. Let's read 1 John 2, 3-6.
Now, by this we know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. These are the 10 commandments given at Mount Sinai. They are the covenant. He who says, "I know him," and does not keep. The word keep means to have a solemn celebration. His commandments, which are the 10 commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever keeps his word, which is the Torah, the Devar Elohim, truly the love of God is perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk by the Spirit, just as he walked.
Amen. So I could go over this for another 20 minutes, just this passage alone. But you got to grasp how you know that you know that you know. This passage in my Bible, I've got it, and it's called the test. If you want to have people that say, "Well, I'm a Christian," "Oh, yeah, really?" Let's go to 1 John 2, 3-6. Let's know. Tell you what, let's do the test. And you know what? They fail it every time. How do you understand your identity in the Messiah and his Torah will determine how you handle your giant. So you got to find out who your identity is. What do you mean? Yeah, well, you're just a farm kid. Nobody really cares about you, and you're just whatever this and whatever that. And wait a minute now. My identity goes back to Abraham. My identity is in Jacob, Isaac, and Jacob. My identity is in the Messiah. Why? Because I'm blood relative to them. That's how the giant doesn't want to do that. You know why? Because when you have the sword of the Spirit, you smack the devil with the sword of the Spirit a couple times, he don't come around no more. He's just like every other bully. You'll either be indignant towards the giant and cut its ugly head off, or you'll justify the giant's existence in your life and allow the giant to live. How do I know that you have giants? Because I watch the bad habits you have. And you'll take that bad habit and you'll, "Oh, you look at you little, you're kind of cute. Let me just keep you right here." I know it's kind of funny. it's true. You see, you don't see the ugliness of your giant. You don't see the consequences of what it's doing to your children, and the children that aren't even born yet. David ran towards Goliath as he was aware of the words at his destiny. Only by his word, the Devar Elohim coming out of your mouth, will bring you to your destiny, as they did David. Did David have to set the stage before he went before Goliath? Did his word set the stage? Yes. You see, you got to understand, write this down. David walked into his word. David didn't run towards the giant. David ran toward his word.
Wow, that's good.
The word that he put out. You
Good.
see that? See, the giant was inconsequential. I mean, he was already dead. Are you running towards your word that you've got out there? See, I'm running toward my word. What's my word? I got the most awesome marriage. In fact, James Dobson's going to be calling me and asking me to write a book.
Amen.
Because I've got the most awesome marriage. Is it there yet? No. Is it getting there? Yeah. How did we go from 50, 60 people to 1,500 in just a few months? I don't know. They're going to send somebody to find out. Why? Because we're going to be walking toward the word. Who's going to be doing all of the stuff that's up on the front here and on all of our DVD covers? We're going to put her in a magazine to look at this Pastor Kim. Who is she? Where did she come from? Where did she learn to do all this stuff? You know, all this stuff. And then she's going to write manuals so that other people get to know how to do. Are you seeing what I'm saying tonight? Look at what Chris Whitson, what he's been doing. Got that missionary heart and said, look, we got to go get more people. Let me show you how we could equip and empower a whole nation. Can him and I get together with Pastor and change the whole Cheyenne nation?
Absolutely.
Yes, we can. And we are. Focus on who you want to become, not where you are today. Again, are you a kitty? Or are you the lion? But you better choose. This is not play around time anymore. You better choose. Tonight is not play around. We just said earlier that Torah is about consequences. It's about life is not a game. Going from the sheep pen to the king's house. Oh my goodness. And when we talk about Ruth going from the corner of the field to being married to Boaz the king. David changed destiny by changing his words. When he found out that by killing the giant you'd have great riches, no taxes, and the king's daughter, man, he started changing his words to line up how he could acquire the reward, the consequences of his decision. He's going, oh man, I want that. I mean, all I got to do is go kill that guy? Bring it on. When's the last time you had the confidence to say, bring it on? You see, David's world changed when his words changed. Whatever or whomever controls the tongue controls the destiny. Remember, if you don't control your self-talk will control you. I told people some time ago, when's the last time you had a book on healing? How many of you have gotten books on healing if you need one? When's the last time you checked out a book, bought a book on Amazon, something about, and written down? When's the last time you wrote out all of the scriptures about healing? When's the last time you wrote out all the scriptures about finances? What about making decisions? Who do you go to talk to people about starting a business? Or do you just want to skate by for the rest of your life? Not me. I'm 67. I'll be 67 years old. In just how many days? I don't know. The 25th, by the way, so mark it on your calendars. Now watch this. This is in red. David had a divine appointment to his destiny that was ordained by the Spirit of Yahweh before he said, let there be light, so do you. Many of you have a divine appointment headed your way. You're on a collision course with your destiny. Some of you are going, man, you don't know how bad I had it growing up. Whine, and yet it made you the person that you are today. Amen. Destiny. Destiny. And it's not about just your destiny, it's about the children that are going to be coming through you. You're the only one person away from your destiny. Only one person. Only one person could see you and go, I like the way you handle your stuff. I like the way that I watched you the other day. I watched you do some things. I'd like to see if, you see, men that hire other people are not worried about what skill set you have. You know why? Because you can teach skill sets, but you can't teach attitude. Your change is awaiting one thing, a decision from you. You need favor from someone. Favor, the Hebrew word is chesed. It's a quality of life that should reveal Yahweh's character, His attributes, and His integrity. Chesed, or favor, one of the most powerful words in the Old Testament or the Tanakh. It reveals loyal love that people committed to Yahweh that we should have for one another. Remember, favor is not a mood or whether I decide I want to like you or not. See, that's why husbands and wives need to quit this understanding, well, I don't know if I like the way you people just... No, have favor. Choose to have favor all the time between each other. Favor. Honor. Because it's not a feeling. It's something people do for each other without expecting anything in return. Favor is closely related to honor. David's words of confidence made him different, set him apart from everybody else. How many hundreds of thousands of men were at that battle that day? How many Philistines and the hundreds of thousands were at that battle? Yet there was one shepherd boy that had no armor, that looked so different than everybody else. Everybody could tell he was different. But how many knew when he walked out there and he started putting that sling and that stone in that sling and he's going like this? How many know every Philistine that was there was going, what's about to happen? How many know the questions were, what is he going to do? Man, or is this kid going to get slaughtered or what? How many know? But they didn't know. See, but he was different. See, I want you to read this with me. Your difference is visible. Your difference is heard. Your difference is remembered. How many know when people come here, they never forget Billy? Your difference will bring you before giants. And more important, your difference will bring you before kings. I'm expecting to be brought before kings. Because I'm starting to understand who I am. No, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm looking at responsibility. David had great expectations. Your expectation will create your future. Whatever you expect is exactly what your future will be. Every thought you think, every word you speak is creating your future. David had two words empowered to him. I can. I can. I can see, I can have a doctor right here. There's a doctor, why? Because I can. He's already said so. I can. Can he be as qualified as Ben Carson?
Sure. Yes.
Can he? Mm-hmm. Yes. You see, that's the whole thing. The question is, how big do you want to be? I can. I can do all things through the Messiah that strengthens me. David understood the threshold covenant. We're just about done. How many give me just a little bit? Somebody give me 5 minutes? 5 from you, that's 10.
Going once, going twice.
First, David adapted. Notice stepping over the threshold. Because what happens when you step over a threshold? You're under that person's authority. Amen? David adapted to his father's instructions. He said, David, go take these gifts to your brothers and to the soldiers. Yes, Dad, I'll get it done. And then we see David adapting to King Saul's leadership, because what did he have to do? He had to step across the threshold to get into the battleground, didn't he? Okay? So he adapted into leadership and authority before he could fight Goliath, because he had to have King Saul's authority to say, go get that giant. He couldn't have just done it on his own. If he just went out there and just willy-nilly went up and just out of the blue just started to fight Goliath, would he have killed Goliath? No, because why? It was not in order. See, when people want to get out of order with their leaders, they'll never kill any giants.
No.
See, David had to step over the doorway into the place of King Saul's battlefield. The key to killing your giant, adapt to the leadership where Yahweh has you, and Yahweh will bless you. But see, once you step over the threshold and you choose not to do that, you become a hybrid. You become ineffective. Some doors are locked in life. If they weren't, Yeshua would not have given you the keys of the kingdom to open them. Have you ever thought about that? See, that's why some of the doors are locked. Why? They're locked to other people. But he says, I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom. But whatever you bind in heaven shall be bound on earth, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Whatever you bind according to Torah will be bound, and whatever you loose according to Torah will be loosed. See, he gave you the keys. And you keep knocking, well, I don't know, I can't get these finances, I can't get this and that, and we're all there. But tonight the Father's telling us, I gave you the keys. Unlock the door. How many are getting something tonight? I mean, this is good. Amen. So the way to bring restoration is through establishing the principles, the Constitution, the name of the king, the protocol of the home country, or to introduce the Torah. 2 realms of thought. Greek. Number 1, you want to be in order and you believe this, you believe that, but you believe in something. All mental. In Hebrew, I give you an order and you respond with heart motives. The Torah is a proper response to a holy God. When the king calls, you respond with a grateful heart. Thank you. When you're given an instruction, thank you. I'll get that done. Thank you. I want to do that. Vacuum the floor. Thank you. I can do a good job. Wipe the tail. Whatever. Whatever is to be done. That's the thing, is that when you do that, it's what attitude do you have when you do it? Decree what you want in life. Decree to kill your giant. Let's read Job 22, 26 through 28.
For then you will have delight in the Almighty, and lift up your face to God. You will make your prayer to Him. He will hear you, and you will pay your vows. You will also declare a thing, and it will be established for you. So light will shine on your ways.
Okay, now I'll take that apart a little bit. Verse 28. So you will declare a thing. Declare it. I declare. What are you declaring? I'm going to be successful. I'm going to have a house. What kind of house? 4 walls, 2 windows. No, is that the size of house you want? 1 door. Is that what size of house you want? What size of house you want? Do you want curtains on those windows? You want a toilet in that house? What do you want in your house? Decree a thing. Declare a thing. What do you want for a spouse? Unmarried people. What kind of spouse you want? Man, what kind of spouse you want? Bald-headed one with hair? What do you want? You want a pretty one? Whatever. What do you want? But what are you declaring? And it will be established for you what you declare. David decreed he was going to kill Goliath. 1 Samuel 17:32. Then David said to Saul, let no man's heart fall or fail because of him. your servant will go and fight this Philistine. David decreed what was going to happen. 1 Samuel 17, 35 to 37. We're going to read this one more time.
Your servant has killed the lion and bear,
and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God. Moreover, David said, the Lord who delivered me from the lion and from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said to David, go, and the Lord be with you.
Decree the same as David. He said, he delivered me from the paw. That devil that's telling me that I can't lose weight, that devil telling me that I can't get more than 50 people here, that devil telling me that I don't have enough money to do what it was, devil, I decree that you're a liar. That I have more than enough for every good work. Why? Because the Constitution says so in 2 Corinthians 9:8. And God said, I'm able to bring you an abundance for every good work. Amen? Decree. The more you stand against the giant, the more confident you'll be that Yahweh will be there to fight them for you.
Amen.
Amen? But he's willing, he's waiting to test what you're going to decree. And the last thing we want to talk about is knowing what to say. Let's read it with her.
Isaiah 54:17.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord.
Amen. Do you enjoy tonight?
Amen.
Give Yeshua a big hand. How many know he's standing beside you? How many know he's going to take your giant down? Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Let's just take just a couple of minutes. Does somebody have anything you want to share that touched your heart about the teaching tonight? What did the teaching teach you tonight? Did anybody have anything?
You know, as a parent,
There it went.
when you have a breakthrough in your own personal life, it's something that now you can teach your kids. And I just wrote a note that said, the resounding sound heard throughout all the people of the land, or your whole family, is that I can do all things. Because Yeshua has given me this something, whatever it is, before time began. Like he's already enabled our house. I just had to go, oh, I got it. And then my kids look at me and go, oh, I can do that. And it's because I'm getting it, my kids are getting it, and then everybody else is beginning to get it. And so we don't ever sit around going, oh, I can't do that. We go, okay, we can do it. Amen.
Amen. That's
Okay.
good word.
Amen. Anybody else got anything? How many things you want to share? Well, let's stand and let's close. Amen. I encourage you to get the Mocking Your Giants 1 and 2 and 3 tonight. How many want to copy it tonight? How many think you need to listen to it at least one more time? Yeah. Amen. I want to encourage you to get these and to be able to play them in your car, when you're driving, whatever. How many know this is worth listening to one more time? How many felt the presence of God tonight? Amen. Let's close with your running blessing. Yivarecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panavecha ve'nigrecha Yisa Adonai tonight. You challenged us, Father. You challenged us with your word. You challenged us to stand with you. You challenged us to take on courage. You challenged us to go after our giants. Father, I thank you that you've already decreed yourself that our giants are already down. And I give you thanks. Father, touch each one of the people tonight. Give them traveling mercies on their way home. Father, we thank you tonight for each one that came and those that got to listen by live stream. Father, I just thank you tonight. Father, let us change. Let us not sleep with our giant again. And so, Father, I give you praise in Yeshua's name. And everybody said, Amen.
Good job. Good job.
Here's a turn.